Welcome back to the Early Bird Show. You know, as a grown up, as a youngster, जब भी मैं पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में सोचता हूँ, मेरे दिमाग में ना जो पहला क्वेश्चन आता है वो यही आता है कि भाई लेफ्ट विंग क्या होता है, राइट विंग क्या होता है। आज के ज़माने के हिसाब से तो पता है कि कौन सी राइट विंग पार्टी है, कौन सी लेफ्ट विंग पार्टी है, ठीक है। लेकिन जब मैं इन आइडियोलॉजीज के बारे में सोचता हूँ, सेंटर राइट क्या होता है, सेंटर लेफ्ट क्या होता है, एक्सट्रीम लेफ्ट क्या होता है, एक्सट्रीम राइट आइडियोलॉजीज क्या होता है, तो बहुत कंफ्यूज हो जाता हूँ मैं। इनका ओरिजिन कहाँ से हुआ था और ये टाइम के साथ कैसे इवॉल्व हुई हैं, ठीक है। और अगर आप भी उनमें से हो जिनको यही कंफ्यूजन है, देन दिस वीडियो इज फॉर यू। राइट फ्रॉम द स्टार्टिंग ऑफ दिस आइडियोलॉजी टाइम के साथ कैसे इवॉल्व हुआ है, जस्ट गो एंड वॉच इट। Where in all this you were studying history, politics? When were you getting the time, and how did you, maintain this hobby for so long?
Yeah. So it's my passion, history. Some people are born like you have Sachin Tendulkar.
Mm-hmm.
He was born to play cricket. We have A.R. Rahman. So people like that. So I'm not comparing myself with them, but I'm just trying to say that you are born for a purpose. You know, somebody is naturally very good scientist. Somebody is very good artist, singer, dancer, painter. I was very bad in painting. In fact, in school days, I used to fail in my drawing.
That is with everyone
Yeah,
actually.
so our teachers would tell, my teachers would tell to parents, well, he's scoring in 80, 90% in maths and science, and why is he failing in drawing? So basically, I was not made for it. So I was really amazed by history, and the vision for me, history teaches you what people have committed mistakes in past,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very object and a very unbiased study. Now, in today's polarized world, you have left wing, right wing, and everybody has their version of history. To some extent, one side may be wrong, one side may be correct. It's on both sides. It's not that all the right wing people, whatever they are saying, is correct, or all the left wing people they are saying not. So there is always, the reality is always in between. For that you have to be abject and very, very unbiased. You have to read with an open mind. So what you get is a lot of lessons that people have committed mistakes in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and based on that, you should not commit these mistakes in future. So I am a person who would like to, I feel, you know the best part of the world problem can be solved is when you empower people with education,
Okay.
when you empower people with ability to take right decisions at right time, and that can happen only if you have a proper knowledge of what mistakes people have committed in past, right?
Historical perspective.
Historical perspective.
Okay.
In my course only, I'll say,
Mm-hmm.
after going to Chennai, after reaching Chennai, I realized what mistake I did in, you know,
Right.
in Pune. That
Mm-hmm.
what mistakes I was doing in my studies, because of which I was not able to clear.
But you are saying that extrapolate that particular thing from a wide view
Yeah,
and study the history and improve your future.
improve your future.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
the main crux of studying history.
As a youngster, I want to learn the ideologies, like the mindset behind the left wing and right wing. Okay, whenever I'm exposed to any news article, whenever I hear news along with my father or like with my friend, or I read newspaper, the headings are leftist party, rightist party, or something like that. But I do not understand the actual ideologies, the mindset, because I believe with time the meanings have changed,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
I, you would agree with me,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So please explain to me that, or maybe the people watching this thing right now, that how these terms started coming into the picture, and how these terms, the meaning of these terms has changed over the time.
Okay. Um, Quite a fundamental question. So this idea of left wing and right wing has its roots in French Revolution.
Okay.
So you all know this very bloody, one of the horrific revolutions fought ever in the human history. One of it is French Revolution.
Okay.
So there was a lot of bloodshed, lot of fighting, killing, and all that stuff. And then it was decided that, well, let's sit on a table
Mm-hmm.
and let's discuss and finalize some solution. There
Okay.
is no point killing each other just like that. Nobody will live, then who will rule? So the judges, the jury, and the king, who at that time of the France, he was sitting in the middle. So there were two groups of people. One were sitting at right, to his right, and another were sitting to his left.
Okay.
So those right wing, those the people sitting at the right, they were the people who were of the opinion that they should maintain the status quo. So whatever has been going on till now should continue in the future as well.
Okay.
So they were like they want to maintain the status quo. They want to run the world the way it was running all the time. You know,
Okay.
without any reformations, or even if there is reformation, it's very little bit without affecting the general masses. And there were people sitting on the left side. They were of the opinion for change, for a radical change in the society, in the masses. So from there on, this idea in the Western worldview came about the right wing and the left wing.
Okay.
So right wing are the people who just want to maintain the status quo, whether it is about religion, whether it is about society, or whether it is about a system, anything. Roots, yeah. So they are more connected to the roots.
Okay.
Whereas left wing people, they are more reformist. They want to reform society. They want to, fight. So basically, now if you study carefully the French history, why it was started, well, the queen was asked that people don't have, I think, breads to eat. So then she replied, why they can't eat the cakes? Because she never had any idea of the poverty of the people living over there that time. So left wing, so yeah, so they were the people who wanted reforms, who wanted change in the society, in the system. But the system at that time was the monarchy, or a theocratic rule, not a democratic system. Okay. So when this Western worldview, it changed itself from so post World War One, World War Two, and all that stuff. So most of the Western countries adopted democratic system of rule. So the reform. So basically, if you see leftist and the French Revolution time, or the reformist, so their main agenda was people who were rich, those who had control over the resources. Right. So it was that they should either share, or they should facilitate other people also to come and be empowered to enjoy the resources, which they were hiding. Now what happened? Post late 19th century, the capital started shifting from Europe to America. Okay, so all the capitalists and the capital started shifting from Europe to America, and all the wealth power shifted to America
because of the World War and all.
Prior to that, so America was one of the countries where there was not even a single bomb hurled in the entire Second World War, and it earned a lot. Okay, so by default, after post World War, America became the richest nation. The Cold War history, where Russia, became the military superpower, and America was the economic superpower. So reformists all throughout the world, whether it is Europe or America, so for them the enemy was the capitalist of US, because they had control over all the resources of the world, most of the resources, if not all, of course. So they were holding on to the resources, and they were the leftist people, or people, they wanted to change the system. So like I said, now theocracy has changed into democracy, and democracy, capitalists are ruling and controlling the resources. This is okay till now. Yeah, okay. Now, to fight America, who was the communist? Right. So these leftists, they blended themselves with communists, the communistic idea, to fight with the people who are capitalists.
Right-wing people.
Right-wing people. Yes. So for them, right-wing people are people who are holding over the resources.
They do not want any changes.
Right. So they understood that current enemy of these people is USSR, which is communist. So then they start. So reformists have not always been communist. So there is a difference. Reformist has not always been communist. Like we have Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, Veer Savarkar. So he is talking about Hindutva, the culture, the revolution, but he proclaimedly in his book Hindu Pad Padshah, says that I am a proclaimed atheist. He doesn't have anything to do with religion. So reformist has not always been communist, but post World War era, they understood that current enemy of the right wing people, or the people who are controlling the resources, is communist. So let's merge together. The ideologies were merged. Okay, it went on, and in 1991-92, the USSR collapsed.
Right.
So one of the founding principles of communism is there is no God, right? There is no God, and it's basically atheism. And state is the only God. It will decide who will have control of what resources,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Means initially they started with the change mechanism, or they wanted change in the society. They wanted people to upgrade. But when they merged with the
Communists,
communist, they wanted the entire power to be centered in their hand, and they wanted to distribute people
correct.
according to their wish.
Their wish.
Okay.
So they thought, well, these people are poorer, they should be given more. So see, you cannot give people resources just like that. They should be competent enough to hold those resources,
Right. Right.
right? Like you have PhD degree, you just can't give it to a person who's 12 failing. You can't even pass 10th standard. So you have to empower people. So communism has its own weaknesses, has its own challenges, because state was deciding everything. There was no creativity in the masses. Like business. So what is capitalism? Basically, it empowers people to come up with a strong idea. Like Ola was started by just mere two IITians.
Right.
Now you see what a big brand it is. Its value is in multi-billion dollars.
Yes.
That is not possible in communism. Because that's not possible. You just can't have any idea, because state will decide
Right.
what is correct, what is not correct. Now Chinese communism is that way very much different to Soviet communism.
Okay.
That's another deep aspect of the discussion. Sometimes when we have a discussion on specific communism, we'll say, well, Chinese communism is basically capitalism without human rights.
Okay. Okay. Means there is a sub branch.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, they have adopted the ideas from capitalism, but then they say, well, if we give freedom of expression, human rights to people, then they may overthrow us.
There is a pinch of
There is
democracy.
pinch of democracy.
Right.
And then they have adopted principles of communism, that you suppress the people's voice and the state will decide what is right, what is wrong.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
So it's a blend.
They have taken the ingredients from
From
all
both.
the places,
From
and
both.
they have make their
Some khichdi kind of thing,
Right.
something like that.
Right.
So now, you see, the basic idea of communism was that, there should not be religion, there should not be God.
Yes.
Now, when Soviet Union collapsed, and so now, of course, even communists, so I think it was 1920s when this whole idea was started, and it was actually a very, very revolutionary idea, actually, thought, because at that time, entire world, not only in India, whether it is Europe, Africa, or America, South America, North America, there was hardly really very highly religious people. Middle East and all, Islam was there. So to say that there is no religion, there is no God, it's very, very revolutionary idea. And people who were intellectuals, this was very fastly catching up.
Okay.
But you see, that's why Jawaharlal Nehru, he caught up. He got this idea of socialism, So now, see, there are things which are beyond human control.
Right.
Whether it is medical field, or whether it is we are in pilots, civil aviation, we say that when pilots, the last resort is pray to God, right?
Exactly.
All the system fails. So there is
and miracle do happens.
Yes. So in communism, in its journey of now it is almost 100 years, if you say from 1920s.
Right.
So in its journey, it started that there is not everything that you can control. There is some higher power, which they call nature.
Right.
They don't call it God. Okay.
Okay.
They don't call it God because they are against God, but there is a power of nature. There is a nature, like hurricanes. Biggest and biggest hurricane comes, tsunami comes, earthquake comes. You just can't control it, right? So revolution always starts with a struggle, and when it stabilizes, it starts to think the changes in nature, observe things changes in nature, and then they say, well, maybe we need to make some course correction. So they understood that there is some power beyond us. Okay, now so then how do we adjust this in our theology? Because their theology or their philosophy was there is no God, there is no religion.
Right.
Now, how do we adjust that? So how they adjusted it? So in each country there is a specific prominent religion. Like in India we have Hinduism. In Bangladesh we have Islam. Sri Lanka prominently Buddhist country, Sinhalese. Southeast Asia mostly Buddhist. Europe mostly Christian. Middle East mostly you see excuse me.
No problem.
Mostly Islamic. South America, North America, mostly Protestant Christians. So how they adjusted this thought in their theology is oppose the prominent religion of the country,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because in India,
Mhm.
for example, let's say in India, I think as per government records now around 80% Hindus are there.
Mhm.
So if you attack their faith, you are attacking majorly people's faith. You are not attacking minority, which is in India, it is Islam, Christianity, Buddhism. Okay, so by that you are achieving your idea of removing religion from majority of the masses,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Because here Hindus are in majority,
Hmm.
so attack Hinduism,
Hmm.
attack Hindu philosophy, attack Hindu gods. Same leftist. When you go to America, the Protestants there they will favor Hindus, but they will attack Christianity
Hmm.
because there that is a prominent religion.
And
So
they want to replace this thing by?
replace this thing by state.
Okay.
Basically, a group of people which they got Politburo, or basically a state or a
Okay.
group of people that they will be the deciding people to control,
Okay. Okay.
like that.
Power centralized at one place.
Exactly.
Okay.
So in Europe again, the leftist will always be against Christians,
Hmm.
whereas in leftist of India they will favor Christians.
Right. Right. Right.
And leftist of India will favor Buddhist, but you go to Singapore, Southeast Asia, Malaysia, and other countries,
Hmm.
there they will oppose Buddhism.
There are so many permutations and combinations. And okay, as you said, it started from French revolutions,
Yeah,
right? The concept of the leftist and the rightist. Okay, so right now, if we fast forward it from 1920s to 2023,
correct.
so how, if you talk about the current era, how has it been right now?
Yeah, so what happened? I think there are two major factors in the journey.
Mhm.
One thing I said that fall of USSR.
Okay,
So now they had to adjust their theology
right.
that you so you don't attack the entire religion of the state. Like
Mm.
in country like India, you don't attack all religions,
Mm.
or even if you attack very minorly. You attack the major religion
Okay.
because that is prominent. That is one aspect. That's one journey that has been continuing on.
Okay.
That's why we find a lot of leftist ideology people. So basically, leftist now is synonymous to one who attacks Hinduism and
Mm.
Hindu
In
thought
India.
process
In
in
India.
India.
Mm.
One very important another thing was in 1975 the concept of petrodollars.
Okay.
So you see now they are saying data will be the new oil of the 21st century.
Uh,
So oil in 20th century was oil itself.
right.
Okay,
Right.
and the resources were in Middle East.
Mm.
Now America with this treaty of petrodollar. So what it did is the I think I'm just forgetting the name of the president who did this deal or
Mhm.
the foreign minister. So they went and they spoke to the sheikhs and the kings of the various Middle Eastern countries, and they made a treaty that you sell your oil because oil was a need of the entire world. So you sell your oil in dollar only.
Okay.
By what will happen,
Mhm.
so oil is the most common thing that connects all the industries all across the globe,
Mm.
and if it is sold only in dollars, by that way you are directly controlling the entire industrial the phenomenon of the entire world,
Right.
because you are printing dollars.
Mm.
You can manipulate the values. Based on
Exactly.
that the oil will be manipulated.
Exactly.
Based on that you can create inflation in one country, bring the government down.
Mm.
So US is very smart in devising the ways how to rule the world. You know, the people, these capitalists, they are very smart
Right.
in devising. So nobody's also previously, wars were fought with swords.
Mm.
Later on, it came with this cannons, and now
Mhm.
we have missiles and whatnot. But now you see, this is the most powerful weapon.
Right.
They just control the economy of the entire planet
Mm.
by petrodollar. But then what happened? They agreed. The sheikhs agreed. Okay, we agree. But what we will get in return?
Mm.
So they promised the complete protection. Okay, we will protect all your resources. We will give you all protection from all kind of enemies.
Mm.
And because of that, what happened? They divided the states. So you have UAE, United Arab Emirates.
Mhm.
What is United? There are many sheikhs.
Right. Right.
Based on the oil wells, they kind of divided.
Yes.
And because they had to protect the sheikhs, so even liberals of US and Europe, basically, because they are one and the same, if you see, they had their blind eye on Islam.
Okay.
So basically they got married. So
Mhm.
two things that changed the course of reformists. or the leftist is first is the fall of USSR and the respective correction in their theology, and then this petrodollar. So they became silent on Islam, you know, and uh, reform is needed anywhere, whether it is Hinduism, Buddhism, or Islam. Everywhere the reform is needed.
Right.
But they just closed their eyes because it was shooting to their interest.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Because हमारा काम बन रहा है,
हम्म
हमें फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. We don't mind if you don't allow your ladies to drive vehicles. You don't allow ladies to wear jeans or normal pants. They have to be in burqa and all that stuff.
Okay.
And when this USSR collapsed and US became the sole power, because China has now risen up, maybe after 2010. So there was 20 years gap. So US was solely controlling the entire planet, the power center, whether it is economic power or even if the military power.
Right.
So then, this thought, so these people were getting a lot of money because of the oil, the Middle Eastern people. So they were funding all the madrasas all over the world. So that, what you say, that kattarta, extremism of Islamic extremism through Middle East started spreading because they were thinking we are the boss of the world. The US is protecting us. So they started spreading all over the planet.
Okay.
Because whether it is madrasa in India or US or Canada, it runs on the Middle East oil money only. And you just can't say, no, we are only, India is like 80-90% it purchases all oil from Middle East. Basically, you are only funding the madrasas, indirect way, right? So they started gaining all this confidence, and then all these various terrorist groups started springing up, and there were wars. America was also involved to protect Indian interests. All this Gulf War I, Gulf War II, Saddam Hussein, and all that stuff. So it became so complex that now they are not able to defend themselves.
Okay.
Like they say, Ghungat is misogynistic. It is against women liberation.
Yes.
But burqa is liberal. So they have found themselves in a very pitiable situation because they had done some mistakes in the past because of the petrodollar and this thing. So now I think the intellectuals in left wing, they have to again reinvent themselves, because this is what history is. People always, like right wing people, always devise some plan to rule over the world. Similarly, reformist will always devise some plan to reform the society.
Okay.
Now there is a general sense, even in, because I get to know, I have some friends from that thought process as well. So even they believe that we are only getting exposed when we say, well, Ghungat is misogynistic but burqa is liberal.
Right, right.
It doesn't make sense, right? Like, you may be neutral person, okay? You are not having your allegiance to any of the thought process, neither right wing nor left wing. And India, I would say, if we happen to 2024 election, I would say mostly the voters are floating voters. Not like so there is a Hindutva wave for sure, but the amount of people voting only for Hindutva is very less.
They don't have the idea of the ideology.
Exactly. They don't bother much actually.
Right, right.
Roti, kapda, makan, and basic human necessities they need.
Right.
Okay, whoever is providing, they will vote for him. So there, they have understood that we are somewhere on a sticky wicket where we cannot bat. We'll have to reinvent our again thought process. Well, we will have to attack. And
they rebooted and they changed the ideologies because that was not working for them. For a long time.
So now this has to come up, and that's why you see Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, we profoundly call him. He's putting in a lot of reforms in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
He has given licenses to women to drive.
Right.
And education.
He's very popular there.
Yeah, there are many things are happening, and even they realize that oil is not the future now.
Right.
Another 20-30 years down the line, there will be no people, no demand of
oil.
No
oil, no security from US. That is gone.
That is gone.
Right.
So how you will survive and how you will earn? You can't do your farming over there. So that's why they are opening up. Now they are also allowing. So see, now there is big, I think 2 years back during COVID period, there was one lady who was killed just because she didn't wear burqa properly.
Really?
Yeah. And
she was not wearing properly, that's why she was killed.
That's why she was killed. Amana Rahebi, some name was there. You can just Google it out. I think it is like she did not cover this much. She was covering only this much. And the laws, because there Iran is very strict, and they brought her to the custody and they beat her so much that she died.
Crazy.
And then, there was a huge wave, and now there is anti-burqa movement in Iran.
Hmm.
And people are in front of mosque, they are going and ladies are removing and burqa and throwing like that. So somewhere they have realized that somewhere we have done mistake. And if you have done mistake, you have realized you have to do course correction.
Right.
Like right wing people understood that now the gold is oil, not the gold itself. So they came up with this petrodollar idea. Right? So if they change, you'll have to also change, right?
Exactly.
And that's what I'm waiting for. Maybe another decade or so, there should be some change in the leftist thought process as well.
Thank you so much for watching this conversation और the topic till the end. I hope कि अब आपके सारे डाउट क्लियर हो गए होंगे, और अभी भी कुछ डाउट है तो let us know in the comment section. We will definitely answer that. Keep watching the Early Bird Show, and we will keep coming up with yet more engaging topics and informative topics on the Early Bird Show. Thank you so much.